Welcome to Wayne County Connection. I'm your host, Michael Sweigart. I'd like to invite you to join us today again as we promote Wayne County as a great place to work, live, and play. It is my pleasure to host this program every month and to remind you of all of the great assets that we have here as we build on our strengths for a better future in Wayne County. This program will be airing in August, and you've had a couple of months off from the school buses, but I want to remind you that school is back in session as this program airs. Mostly people are going to be getting ready, and so there are going to be school buses and school children out walking the roads and parents driving their children to school. And so I want you to be aware of that and take special caution in the mornings and in the afternoons on our roadways to keep Wayne County a great place to work, live, and play. There are so many things going on, though, as we wind down our summer and start into the school season in the fall. There are wrapped up festivals in the area, and there are also some special events going on to promote what's going on in the county schools. And I want to encourage you to visit our website at waynenet.org/cc for links to those programs, or waynenet.org/calendar for some of the programs that are going on. And if you have an event going on, make sure that you get that listed on the program, your source for all things local at waynenet.org. Well, on the program today, we are highlighting one of our famous educational institutions here, secondary educational institutions. We have 5 here in Wayne County, and it is really great that we have today with us Phil Quinn, and he is the marketing director for Ivy Tech here in Richmond. And Phil, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm a big fan. I always watch, whether it's either being streamed or on the YouTube page. What WayneNet does, what this program does, it's essential to make sure that we are getting the best of what we have to offer out there. So thanks for having me.
No, it's a pleasure to have you. For those of you that recognize the voice but not the face, there's Phil Quinn. You probably heard him on the radio. He was a former city councilman, but now still on the radio, but
yep.
Also promoting Ivy Tech. And for those of you that are viewers that don't know you that well, give us a little background.
Well, I've been with Ivy Tech for just over a year now, and the way that came about is now the former Chancellor, Chad Bolster, which I know we'll talk about later, we were on the air doing an interview, and we were talking about workforce programs and the governor's Next Level Jobs initiative and so many things that were happening positive with Ivy Tech. And I just kind of looked at him and tapped him on the shoulder and said, "How are you getting the word out there?" And he goes, "That's why I need you." And I said, I do a radio show, you're more than welcome to come out here. He goes, "No, we really need the help in promoting what we do." And so I came on board, and in the last year, we have really worked hard to not just tell the Ivy Tech story, but also really get student achievement out there and some of those unique stories. Our students are very, non-traditional is probably not the best way to say it, but they're from all walks of life and come in at different points in life. But then also to highlight the faculty and how excellent they are and how supportive they are. And so it's kind of reflective of what I've always been passionate about since moving back here after college. I grew up in Richmond. I went to college in Indianapolis. My first job was back in radio in Richmond, and I've just been here ever since. And, just like you, Michael, just one of those community advocates. It's like, well, what's the next thing we need to be getting up and cheering about? And Ivy Tech is one of those things that it's an asset here that sometimes it's overlooked. We know what the logo looks like,
right?
But we don't always know what's going on campus. And so the last year, it's been a crash course in trying to figure out how to make sure we do that. Often, even with our own program we have here on WCTV, we talk about connecting Ivy Tech to the community. Well, now it's my test. This is my final exam. I'm on my own. I've been talking to professors and faculty members and administrative people and students. So now I'm on my own, so I have my cheat sheet to try to get me through this. So, my background is whatever we need to do to help promote not just Wayne County, but also Ivy Tech that's my mission. That's what we're doing.
Right. Well, it's great to have you on the show to do just that today. Yep. And you have mentioned so many areas. I do want to encourage our viewers to also watch your program. Your program is on the same channel.
Yep. Fridays at 9.
Fridays at 9.
Friday evening at 9.
Friday evening at 9. And so you can learn more about what's going on at Ivy Tech and watch Phil talk about that. But we want to highlight some of those programs and areas today. Like you said a moment ago, we know the logo. That's kind of familiar. People that have seen any advertising for educational institutions in Indiana have seen that logo. But what is Ivy Tech? Give us kind of like an overview of what Ivy Tech education is?
So it started out, Glenn A. Sample was kind of the founder of Ivy Tech, who's a Wayne County or was a Wayne County resident. And so Ivy Tech kind of started here on the eastern side of the state. As it's grown, it has become the largest college and has the most graduates of any school in Indiana. And while it's a 2-year degree program, a lot of it was based on kind of advanced skills or workforce skills, kind of the things we think about automotive technology, heating and air, that kind of thing. As it's grown, it has become an integral part of the community to get people started in the process of achieving their degree. So 2-year degrees are what we're kind of known for, and associate degree programs. But in all honesty, we're moving towards what the employers need. So we do a lot of listening to area employers are going, okay, well, what skills does this particular job need? And then we try to fit retroactively that programming. And a lot of what we do is healthcare. It's such a driver for this economy here. So one thing that I'm now much more familiar with is that anybody wearing scrubs for you and I, and we're in the hospital, we would think of them as a nurse. But there are a lot of different categories. They could be an RN, an LPN, it could be a medical assistant, a CNA, but they're all there in a supportive role to take care of you and us. And so what I've come to find out is that there are these little niche parts of education where you don't always need a 2-year degree. A certificate can get you in. One of our most successful programs is welding, but our graduation rate for welders is really low. And one of the reasons is because an employer goes, yep, that's all we need, we'll finish them, and they take them. And what's great about that is we're getting someone into the workforce. So we feel like we're doing our job. But in all honesty,
on the one hand, you're like, wait a minute, our graduation rate is terrible. But on the other hand, yay!
That's right. And over the years, just the completions, the amount, and that's how we don't say graduates as much as we say completions, because it could be a degree, but it could just be a certificate. Information technology is such a huge sector for us as well, IT. And sometimes it just takes some certificates to get you to that next level.
Traditionally in IT is an area near and dear to my heart. You needed the 4-year collegiate degree in computer science or something, but as the technology has changed and so rapidly, the time it takes to get the 4-year degree, what you learned first year is, it's great foundation, but it's not really helpful a lot of times, it seems like. So the Ivy Tech program, one of the things that you mentioned just a moment ago that I want to kind of touch on, there are multiple campuses around the area. Ivy Tech Richmond is only one of multiple campuses, and their name kind of came out of the idea of Indiana Vocational Technical College.
Absolutely right.
And so when you think about that, you think about vocational, the career-driven kind of educational niche. And the one thing that you mentioned there was the programs like welding and so forth that require a pretty specific skill set, but it's employer driven. And if you look at the Ivy Tech, main campus page, if you scroll down through all the campuses, you see that there are different programs offered at different campuses, but they're all related to that same area. So what you're saying is that in Richmond, you're looking at Wayne County employers and employers in the nearby counties that we're going to talk about a little bit more with Ohio counties also. You're looking at what those employers need, and you're saying, okay, we've got a program that either fits this already or it's close enough we could develop a program. We have resources we could bring in from another campus to help you get employees that are going to do the job well.
That's exactly right. And along with that, while we're doing that listening, what we've also found is that when we get a student enrolled and get them into the learning process again, a lot of our students have gone and lived some life. They may be married, they may have kids, they may now be divorced, they may be trying to figure out how to take the next step to get to that next salary increase. And so oftentimes someone going back to school for the first time, we'll give them some math and some regular science or biology or communication skills or speech writing or English. And what our biggest category, our largest growing category besides healthcare, has been those general ed transfer students, those general studies, where they get the 2-year degree and then they go, I don't feel like I'm done. I want to go for the 4-year degree. Sure. And that's where we just walk them straight over to IU East and go, here we go. We got to, but the programming that we offer at Ivy Tech is also available at 150 other colleges. Most recently, the University of Indianapolis came on board where our students can get credentialed and then move on to a 4-year degree. And the really key point of that is when someone has their 2-year degree and they want to go on to their 4-year degree, their completion rate of getting that bachelor's is off the charts. It's way higher than just a traditional student that starts out as a freshman at a 4-year school and then finishes through.
There are
so that's
lots of stories of people being not well prepared for the transition from high school to collegiate demands. The idea that all of a sudden you're responsible for your own study hours, for maybe having a part-time job, and managing all of that, and the flexibility of the schedule, and all of those things play into their into the success rate. And a lot of times, there's been a big push culturally for a few decades for the college education. It got really popular with the economic expansion in the 50s and 60s. And we've talked previously, and a big topic here in Wayne County has been the brain drain. And so there are a lot of various elements or various societal factors that impact people when they are sitting around in August and wondering what they're going to do.
Right.
And maybe they have had trouble getting a job, or maybe they didn't know what they wanted to do.
Right.
And so they've just been, they're working something, but they're dissatisfied with it, and they don't know how to make the next step in a career or vocational step. And Ivy Tech seems to have an answer to that. They say, we've got something that we can help you with right now. We can get you started on something right now. You're interested in HVAC, you're interested in welding. Maybe you don't feel like your skill set is good enough. Maybe you have trouble with some basic writing skills or some basic math skills. We've got a program we can help you with that right now. And then if you get really excited about it and you want to complete a certificate, we've got a certificate. If you want to complete a 2-year degree, we've got a 2-year degree. If you get to the 2-year degree, we've already got a program in place to help you transition to the 4-year college.
Exactly.
And we've already got those links. And that really, for somebody who's sitting on the sidelines, basically, or some other way dissatisfied with where their career path is, Ivy Tech has an answer to that right here in Wayne County.
It absolutely does. All well said. We'll put you on the next promo.
Just taking it off of you.
Yeah, that's right. Well, to add to that, for us, Ivy Tech has been there when we've gone through a recession. A great recession or just a little bump in the road. And when a major manufacturer pulls up stakes and relocates, that's when Ivy Tech has traditionally kind of sprung into gear. And when you see an unemployment rate of 3.5 to 3.1%, whatever the number is, the interesting part of that is we've had 5 continuous semesters of student enrollment growth. And that's not been the norm. So the message is getting out there that if you want to go from $12 an hour to $22 an hour, boy, that high school diploma isn't just enough, and we all know that, but neither is working in the same job for 15 years enough.
Right.
You're going to have to get extra skills. It could be supply chain management. It could be, just that extra bit of knowledge when it comes to electronics or electrical degree. We're not a union city. Right. We have not had that union labor workforce that has been instrumental in other cities around the state at kind of being a feeder program. Hey, come on and be the apprentice with me, and then we'll get you in to be the electricals union. Then you'll get in and that's how you'll get your card and go on. That's not been a big part of our community,
right.
And so that has been a good place for us to fit into. Boy, if you are wanting to be an electrician, then let's get some classes started. Let's see if that's a good fit for you. If not, we'll transition to heating and air. That's an easy thing to do too. Or robotics has been a big thing for us too. We're in a situation now where, for so long, school administrators and school boards, to their credit, it's not a criticism, have said you've got to go to college. You've got to go to college. But we've never really structured that.
Because there's a high value in that education that is achieved there.
And that's too simple of an answer.
Exactly.
The answer is, boy, what grinds your gears? What gets you motivated? And for some students that are a junior or sophomore in high school, to be frank, they may not have worked outside. They may not have done an industrial shop class. They may not have some of those skills. They may not know that's what they're good at doing. But we're also not selling the sizzle of what those jobs earn,
Yeah.
and where that money can translate into a career that you can have for the next 20 to 35 years before you kind of fit in, you started at entry level and you worked your way up. That's not alien to us anymore, but it certainly isn't the norm. And what we need to do is we need to make sure that we're convincing our high school seniors that if you don't already have a plan, don't start getting into a four-year school and trying to pick something and randomly find your spot. A great fit for you could be to get started at Ivy Tech. As you know, we have kids, and our kids go, as soon as I graduate, I'm getting as far away from here as possible. But your point, we have 19 campuses across the state. Our service area services Connersville and Rushville. We have online courses. You can study at home, or you can go to Bloomington or Muncie or South Bend and start your college career. Of course, you don't have to stay within the city limits. But the one thing you are going to have to do is everybody's going to have to know that for a while, we identified ourselves as being the cheapest college in town. Cheap doesn't sound good. It's negative. We're the most affordable. And now, thanks to legislative efforts, you can't be a professor at Ivy Tech unless you could also be a professor at any other public institution in the state. So we have to have the same credentialed faculty and staff, which means not only are we the lowest credit hour, our cost per credit hour, we're now also going to give you that same lessons, which is why we got adopted and our college transfers went through the roof, because now we were all playing the same game.
Yeah. So you've talked about a lot, and I wish we had time to discuss everything that you've mentioned so far. We're going to hit a few of them as we go through here, but I do want to give you an opportunity. How can people find out more about Ivy Tech after the program's over, other than watching your program?
Any research that you did just kind of prepping for this show, you went to ivytech.edu and you go, whoa.
Exactly.
One of our obstacles is that we have trouble dissecting where you need to be. So what we try to tell people is you can go to our website, ivytech.edu/Richmond, but it may be better for you to figure out what you want to do. So for instance, my game is I talk about, do you want to help people? Do you want to serve people? Do you want to make stuff? Do you want to sell stuff? Do you want to fix stuff? You know, where are you? And then let's come into the building and let's start. We have a thing called an Express Enrollment Center. It basically kind of on certain days it kind of speeds up that ability to register for classes, to apply for financial aid, to talk to an advisor, to get into some place. But for people that are just interested, it can be a little confusing, convoluted. And so what I suggest is for you to identify kind of where you think you want to be. And it's completely fine to be a guest student. And a guest student for us is someone that's just going to take a class that's going to help them with their degree that they're going to be going to, let's say they're going to Ball State. In the summer, they take a class or two. We also can help someone that says, look, I just don't have enough money built up. And so I can't go to the school I want to go to yet, so I'm going to take some classes here. I always tell people that if you think financially you can't afford to go to school, just about every student that walks in, a prospective student, can get some sort of financial aid.
Right.
But even if you didn't qualify for a penny, the most a 2-year associate degree would cost you, including course materials, would be about $10,000. So the example I use
that sounds like a lot if you're making $7.50 an hour.
Agreed.
You know.
But that's where we say you're not completing it in 2 years.
Right.
Or maybe you're not doing things on a 16-week semester schedule, but more like an 8-week. So you take 2 classes every 8 weeks as opposed to 4 or 5 in a 16-week schedule.
Okay.
So we have to be able to learn about you as an individual and how you're going to be the most successful.
So you're telling me that Ivy Tech has a way to meet you where you are and help you achieve your goals?
Well, yes, and also if you need help in finding out where you are. I mean,
let's say, just for example, I mean, like I said, we're at the end of the summer, and there may have been some high school seniors or parents of high school seniors watching our program, people that graduated recently, or maybe in the last couple of years, and they're sitting around there like, I just don't know what I don't know what I'm good at. I don't know what I want to do.
That's right.
Could they come to this? You call it an assessment area?
Yeah, the Express Enrollment Center.
Center.
They could come to us or reach out to us in any number of ways, whether it's a social channel or just an email, and go, I just want to talk to somebody about school.
But not sure if it's even the right thing for me. But
yeah, but I'll bet you, I don't know the number right off the top of my head for this past semester. 85% of our students are getting some sort of financial aid. I mean, it is certainly not crazy to think that you could have a lot or most of your school paid for.
Now, there's also some employers that will support you after the fact, if you've gotten the B average or something, to encourage you. We'll go back to school, we'll work with you flexibly with your schedule, and if you pass this course with a B or better, we'll reimburse you for your cost.
Not only that, and thank you for mentioning that, because I absolutely want to make sure that we let people know, if anybody that you know is watching this program, or you yourself, if you've not even finished high school, we're also partnering with the Richmond Adult Education and hosting classes at Ivy Tech. So you can come, and those are free to start getting your GED, or now they call them an HSE credential. And what that does is that now spearheads you to figure out, okay, what's next? Right. And during that time that you're in school, whether it's getting your GED or just starting to take some classes, you're going to get support from our faculty just going, so what are you thinking? What's interesting? We've had people that have been, right out of high school that have taken some classes, some 16-year-olds that are in high school that have taken some courses. We've had some people that have retired and taken courses at our ag center, the greenhouse. They've been interested in a program like hydroponics. And so our average student age is about 29, which tells you certainly we've got the full gamut of students. And luckily for us, we've got a faculty that appreciates that and looks to take advantage of that, or help you see the light, as it were.
About how many students do you have enrolled at Ivy Tech right now?
All right, so it's a moving target because each semester is a little bit different. So I ran these numbers just before getting here. It's safe to say we average about 2,000 students. Okay. Now, that is a head count number.
Right.
Some are full-time. Some are just taking credentials.
Right.
Our goal is to try to get to about 2,400 by the time we start this fall.
Okay.
And for us, we've got the facilities. We've got a student-faculty ratio about 22 to 1. Okay. But one of the things that I really like, and we just kind of got the updated number, was 93% of the people that get a credential or a degree from Ivy Tech statewide stay in Indiana. So if you're thinking about where your education dollars are going, that's helping reduce the brain drain.
Right.
Now, it may be that it took a while to find out that this is what you needed to do.
Yeah.
But the number's actually higher, Michael. We can't count, especially in a place like the Richmond campus, we can't count a student that lives in Ohio, that got educated in Richmond, that is also working for Reed Health. We can't count that student. So the number actually is probably closer to 97%.
Wow.
So that's a great story for us to tell, especially when we talk about our foundation or other people. How do you support the education in this community? One way is by making sure that the workforce is staying in this community, and that's a really good story for us.
Okay, we are really running out of time because
already,
and I've got so much more I want to ask you about. There's a graphic on screen right now. It's Cross the Line, and you talked about Ohio residents just now. Quickly, like we've got less than 2 minutes.
All right, here we go. So we serve Wayne, Fayette, Union, Rush, Randolph counties in Indiana, and then Preble and Dark in Ohio. And when you look at that piece of the pie, our service area, 40% of our population that we're trying to serve isn't an Indiana resident. Okay. So we have a tremendous amount of reciprocity where students can take in-state classes or out-of-state classes at an in-state rate. So we tell people it's not a wall.
Yeah.
You just get on I-70. As soon as you see us, pull off, because we can help almost any Ohio resident. So that's a real focal point for us. There are certain things. Taking the nursing exam is a state exam. We can't really discount that. Yeah. But certainly when it comes to CDL driving and licensing to other things, we have a lot to offer for folks that don't have an Indiana driver's license.
Two big things, industries that you mentioned just now, truck driving and healthcare.
Yeah.
If I'm an employer, what resources does Ivy Tech have me have helped me find good candidates?
Well, we have Hire Ivy. That is an opportunity for us to list our graduates on a listserv if they choose to be, if they don't already have a job. A lot of our graduates already have a future plan in place, but if they don't, they can register with Hire Ivy. A lot of people, just because our faculty is networked within the workforce in our community, they'll just call them or send an email saying, hey, who do you got that knows how to do drywall? Who do you got that's got a good welding, or particularly with nursing, it's usually a network of just word of mouth that helps out a lot. And so that's a real benefit for us too. Our faculty is also engaged in the workforce too.
Right. Phil Quinn is marketing director for
I've got
Ivy
all
Tech.
this stuff
You've
here,
got all
Michael.
this stuff.
I mean, it's pages of notes.
We said we're going to talk about Chad leaving and the great thing there, but we're out of time.
He's moving up. That's all he is. He's moving up. Dr. Stacy Atkinson's got us.
He did a great job
She'll do
here.
it. Yep.
He's going to.
That's right. He's George and Wheezy. He's moving on up.
And we have a great opportunity for you, if you're interested, you're a student, you personally, maybe you're thinking about your future plans. Ivy Tech Richmond is a great place to look for educational opportunities to help you with your career path.
Right.
Phil Quinn, Marketing Director at Ivy Tech, thank you for being on the show today, a dynamic guest.
Appreciate it.
And it's been a great honor to have you with us today. And thank you for watching. We couldn't be Wayne County a great place to work, live, and play without you, our viewers, doing your part to get connected to make that happen. And I'd like to encourage you to get connected with Ivy Tech, either as an employee, an employer, a student, whatever way that you can do that. They also have a foundation to help students. If you have any interest at all, check them out. You can start at ivytech.edu, or you can just visit the campus on the north side of Richmond here, just right off I-70, and you can find it. It's a great place. I'm your host, Michael Sweigart. It's been an honor to have you with us today. Watching the program, we'd like to encourage you to show this program around to people. As you know, you can find links to our on-demand streaming program at waynet.org/cc, our website. I'd like to thank our producer, Jane Holman, and our director, Ryan Harris, and the rest of the crew here at WCTV. I'm Michael Sweigart, your host. We'll see you next month.